Fox 29 News in HD is sponsored by X1 from Xfinity, changing the way you experience TV.
Live from Center City in Philadelphia, this is Fox 29 News at 10.
Breaking news right now. 3 words I've waited to say for months. Baseball is back. I'll say it again. Baseball is back. Kristen and I are live here at Citizens Bank Park, where the lights are on for the first time here in a while. So let's bring back in Shayna now. Let's get a show of hands here. Who's ready? Lean in. There we go. Hi.
I mean, it's about time. Summer's like half over already.
That's right. And I'm still a little bitter about how it all went down, but I'm certainly ready for the season. And Kristen, let's bring you in here as we talk about the long, painful, tough road ahead, but what can fans expect now?
Yeah, Jason, what a saga it's been just to get to this point. Almost more unbearable than the Bryce Harper saga from last year, but we'll let it slide because, yes, baseball is finally back, and it was really all solved tonight with one tweet. Take a look at this. This came from Major League Baseball Players Association when they tweeted that all issues had been resolved and that players are now going to be reporting to training camps. Earlier today, there had been a sticking point negotiating with Major League Baseball over health and safety protocols, but again, that issue has been taken care of. So, spring training 2.0, including right here at Citizens Bank Park, will start on July 1st. Opening day will be the 23rd or 24th of July, and the Phillies will play all East teams, both National League and American League, to help limit with the travel. But let me tell you, series against the Yankees and Red Sox on top of the Nationals, Braves and Mets, it's going to be a tough one. But Jason, we can finally say those 2 little words of play ball. And you know, there's still a lot of answers that we need to come up with from the questions surrounding the COVID issues with baseball. Yeah. And I know we're going to answer them a little bit later in the show.
Plenty to talk about. Lots of games against the Yankees and Red Sox, and of course the NL East.
Big
yeah.
series.
We want to ask you guys at home this question. We want to know, after months of bickering, finger pointing about salaries, number of games, who's more greedy, the owners or the players. Here's a question. Are you still a Major League Baseball fan at this point? Your choices are over it or still in. Head on over to fox29.com/GoVote and let us know. Shayna.
Split down the middle right now. We'll check back in on that a little bit later. But it got heated again tonight at the Columbus statue down in South Philadelphia. And now the mayor is calling out several police officers for an arrest that's going viral tonight. Chris.
That's right, Shayna. All is quiet down here tonight after a rowdy and noisy day and evening of protests from Center City here to South Philadelphia and counter-protest ending outside the now controversial Christopher Columbus statue. Hundreds of protesters gather on Broad Street calling for the dismantling of the Philadelphia Police Department. Flanked by the same officers they want to get rid of, protesters marched north to City Hall. While that was happening, more than 24 others entered the lobby of the Municipal Services Building to demonstrate. The group calling it an occupation. 26 arrested for failure to disperse. Mayor Jim Kenney tweeting he's disturbed about the detainment of an Inquirer reporter who was put in zip ties covering the story and tweeting video of her arrest. The reporter was released shortly after, but sparks kept flying as demonstrators descended back on the Columbus statue.
You guys lost!
Where again they were met by a group of South Philadelphia residents and hundreds of police officers. Tensions rising once again as protests in the city enter its 4th week. Back out here live, at least one Philadelphia police officer stationed outside the Christopher Columbus statue here in South Philly tonight. Back again to those detainments. Mayor Jim Kenney says the detainment of that Inquirer reporter may have violated law, may have violated Philadelphia police policy. An internal investigation will be launched. Guys?
I'm sure we'll hear from the department again soon on that. Thank you, Chris. Meanwhile, Scott, it has been hot out, but not hot enough for a heat wave, at least yet.
Yeah, not just yet, Shayna. We will get a brief break from the heat tomorrow with a cold front, but heat wave is still brewing with that 7-day forecast. Ultimate Doppler showing that front off to the west. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms toward the Poconos and the Lehigh Valley. A lot of that will try and weaken as it moves toward the Philadelphia area overnight. Coming up, we'll talk about that frontal passage. Not as hot tomorrow, but get ready to crank that AC, Shayna, as we move toward the upcoming weekend with that 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Scott. Developing tonight, the FBI says NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace was not the target of a hate crime at the Talladega Speedway. It appeared that a noose was found in Wallace's garage stall on Sunday, but the FBI says photographic evidence suggests that a garage door pull rope fashioned like a tiny noose had been there since last year, long before garage assignments were done for this year.
A tense scene in South Philadelphia tonight where police say a suspect fired at officers. Police say those officers were investigating a shooting near 6th Street and Mercy just before 5 when they saw a man armed with a gun. Police say the officers in plain clothes identified themselves, and that's when the suspect fired. An officer in their car fired back. Now, nobody was seriously hurt, but police say the suspect fell, dropped his weapon, and was arrested.
And Dawn is in Allentown tonight. What's happening in the Lehigh Valley, Dawn?
Well, Shayna, a couple of big cities like Los Angeles and Boston compiled a list of Black-owned businesses so people could support them. And a nonprofit here in the Lehigh Valley thought that was a great idea for a number of reasons. Winston's Jamaican restaurant on North 7th Street in Allentown is a favorite in the neighborhood and beyond. The owner says even though his place is always packed, he's still thrilled to be part of a new list highlighting Black-owned businesses in the Lehigh Valley.
It's very important because there's not a lot of Black-owned business in this neighborhood.
The Lehigh Valley chapter of the nonprofit POWER, Pennsylvanians organized to witness, empower, and rebuild, based out of this church on North 9th Street, is celebrating the more than 200 Black-owned businesses in the area. The effort born out of the Black Lives Matter movement and the death of George Floyd and others.
If Black Lives Matter, then we need to invest money in Black communities and in the businesses that they've built.
Mary Ellen Griffin, owner of Taste of Soul, couldn't agree more. While her restaurant is closed because of COVID and she's now making lunches and feeding inner city children, she says this spotlight will give people a reason to support them.
We have a business too, and we need to live. And it kind of levels the playing field, so to speak, that we're getting out there finally.
Almost Vegan, a new restaurant on Liberty Street, was set to launch in March when the coronavirus hit. Owners Nadia and Anthony Alexander believe this directory will get the word out when they hopefully open in July.
It'll be a big boost for us. Sometimes small businesses get overlooked, so it'll be a bigger platform for everybody to get looked at, all Black businesses in the Lehigh Valley.
And you can find that list on POWER Lehigh Valley's Facebook page. They say they've already had 55,000 people check out that list, and it keeps growing every day. More and more Black-owned businesses are asking to be added, and they say that is the goal. Back to you in the studio.
There are so many out there that would love the support. Thank you, Dawn. Local universities and colleges are announcing their reopening plans. Villanova will start classes on campus on August 17th, while the University of Delaware will welcome its students back for the fall semester on September 1st.
No summer camp? No problem. I'm Jennifer Joyce in Collingswood, New Jersey, where a group of teens became entrepreneurs instead. Bike repairs, lawn care, deliveries, and babysitting. Some of the many jobs these teens are committed to tackling. The Collingswood Teen Job Network is officially open for business.
I can see this kind of like business expanding into like a lot. And I just hope it does, you know, hope it like flies off. In charge are 13-year-old Jackson Automas, his twin sister Sophia, and their 15-year-old brother Vincent. The siblings decided to spend this summer putting their various talents and strengths together to build a diverse business. I know that Sophia and Vincent have like CPR certification.
I don't know how to do bike repair, but Jackson does.
They've already recruited Sophia's friend Maddie to join their team. When she told me about this, I was like, oh, this
sounds like a great idea. I want to do this.
I am very proud of their entrepreneurship.
Mom Danny Moss Velasco ramped up her encouragement when it became clear that summer camp was not an option this year.
I was trying to motivate them to think of ideas for an alternative summer because they're not going to be home on the couch watching Netflix all summer.
The work has already begun coming in. Manager Sophia staying organized with a whiteboard and a laptop. As they continue to grow, this crew is looking to hire peers between the ages of 13 and 15 to join their network.
One thing that we do want to put out there, it has to be like 100% okay with your parents.
To join the job network or to hire these eager workers, check out the Collingswood Teen Job Network's Facebook page. Reporting for Fox 29 News, I'm Jennifer Joyce.
A private funeral today for Rayshard Brooks, the man shot and killed by an Atlanta police officer at a Wendy's parking lot back on June 12th. The funeral was held at Atlanta's historic Ebenezer Baptist Church, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once preached. His daughter, Reverend Bernice King, spoke at the service.
This did not have to happen to Rayshard. There are so many ways that Friday, June 12th could have ended, and a police killing did not have to be one of them.
The Atlanta police officer who shot Brooks has been fired and is now charged with felony murder. He's scheduled bond hearing is coming up today. It was postponed because of that funeral. They didn't want him coinciding. The second officer involved is charged with aggravated assault. He bonded out and is on administrative duty. And Shawnette, you spoke to a local activist marching down to D.C.
An activist and Marine veteran, Jason, walking to raise awareness since 30-year-old David Jones was shot and killed by a Philadelphia police officer 3 years ago.
This year, obviously with the climate about police brutality, it seems to have gotten a lot more attention.
Jamal Johnson is on his annual walk to Washington, D.C. This is the 4th year he's done it to raise awareness and invoke change when it comes to police brutality.
Cars go by with the honking and the waving.
Wearing a Justice for George Floyd mask, he left from Philadelphia Police Headquarters on June 7th. He'll reach D.C. this Friday to go to the office of the Congressional Black Caucus and the Department of Justice. The walk is part of the organization he founded called Stop Killing Us, which has a lot of supporters.
Some march for an hour, some march for a couple minutes. I could easily catch a bus and go to D.C. and give them the papers. But I feel that by me doing it on foot every year, doing 140 plus miles, that they'll give that some consideration.
He'll present a list of reforms to officials in Washington.
Some of the things they actually adopted to put for consideration was the no chokeholds. We put that out there back in 2017. The no knock warrants, we put that out there in 2017. They're not really seeming to harp on, number one, having law enforcement live in our communities, which we think they should. Extreme, extensive psychological evaluations.
While Johnson is fighting against police brutality, he says there's another important message for the black community.
We can't say on the one hand we want police brutality to stop while we're still killing each other in the streets.
And tonight, Johnson is in Laurel, Maryland, expected again in D.C. on Friday. Go to fox29.com if you'd like to track his walk, find out how to support him or other organizations addressing the same issue. Shayna.
All right, Shawnette Wilson, live in Old City for us. A teenager has been shot in West Philadelphia. Police say it happened at 100 North Edgewood Street on the highway around 3:30 this afternoon. When officers got there, they say they found a 16-year-old boy shot once in the stomach. He was taken to the hospital and is now in critical condition. No arrests have been made. A big legal victory today for Bill Cosby. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court says it will hear his appeal over his 2018 sex assault conviction. Our Joyce Evans explains what's next.
It's an opportunity, given Cosby's age, given the COVID era. There are circumstances where he can work his way out of prison, which is probably the most important thing to him. But then he's also looking to clear his name.
Local attorney Joe Marone weighing in on the Pennsylvania Supreme Court's ruling to review two key issues in the case that led to Bill Cosby's conviction of drugging and sexually assaulting Andrea Constand in 2004 at his Philadelphia area home.
Remember, there was two trials. The first trial was only 2 witnesses. When they went to the second trial, it went up to 5 witnesses, which the argument was that was clearly misleading to the jury totally not looking at the core issue, prejudicial. And the second big factor was there was a deal in place with Cosby's civil attorneys and then DA Castor that they weren't going to prosecute.
In a statement, Cosby spokesperson Andrew Wyatt praised the decision, especially in light of recent protests demanding equal justice under the criminal justice system, saying, quote, "As we have all stated, the false conviction of Bill Cosby is so much bigger than him. It's about the destruction of all black people and people of color in America." Andrea Constand writes, quote, "Regardless of our national heritage, color, creed, or identity, we all deserve justice. That is a fact. I have no doubt the Supreme Court will do the right thing." And from the Montgomery County DA's office, quote, "We look forward to briefing and arguing these issues and remain confident in the trial court and Superior Court's previous decisions." So what happens now? The Supreme Court will hear oral arguments on both sides of the issue.
It's going to be really interesting if this case is remanded back to trial, what Cosby's team decides to do. Do they roll the dice and go back to trial to clear his name, or they make a deal for his freedom? And that's going to be the big question.
And if there is a new trial, Marone says he totally expects Cosby's lawyers to go after having a new judge to try it. In the Old City, Joyce Evans, Fox 29 News.
Police are looking for a bunch of beer bandits. Surveillance video shows a group of people smashing a door at Beer Heaven on South Columbus back on June 12th. They took as many drinks as they could carry before running off. If you recognize any of them, call police.
Well, now we know baseball is back. I mean, the bank's looking beautiful, all lit up behind me. Summer without baseball, I don't even want to imagine that. But now there is another summer tradition that is finally back for folks. Of course, down the shore, amusement parks, water parks, all down the shore in Wildwood, Ocean City, open just in time for 4th of July. So we sent our Marcus Espinosa to have some fun down there in Ocean City.
Too late. It's time to open back up.
From the looks of the Ocean City Boardwalk in New Jersey, you'd think everything is already open.
It's really crowded, especially it's usually not this crowded at this point.
But not quite.
Today we are announcing that
on Tuesday, however, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy announced that water parks, playgrounds, and even amusement parks can reopen at half capacity.
I think it's okay as long as they do it in a limited fashion, you know, because we saw what happened down in Florida, and I think they opened up a little too fast for the resorts and everything and the beaches, and as the result of that, you see the spike that's going on. So as long as they do it in a nice, slow, and, you know, organized fashion, I think it'll be okay.
Anthony Bruce Coprich and his family say the rides and amusements are a big part of the New Jersey experience.
We like the rides a lot. You know, that's the main reason, one of the main reasons we come down here, especially for him, you know, for the rides. But I think it adds a lot more to the boardwalk. Other boardwalks, they don't have rides and everything, but this boardwalk definitely. I've been coming down here since I was a kid.
Murphy said face masks must be worn by workers and attendees where possible.
Wear a mask, but we just had some pizza, so and just stay in the house most of the time.
And staying 6 feet away once we're outside.
This news comes just after the governor announced that casinos are also going to open with limited capacity in New Jersey. In Ocean City, Marcus Espinosa, Fox 29 News.
And meanwhile, Governor Murphy has one message if you're heading down the shore.
there is no reason to be a knucklehead. Keep your distances, wear your face coverings, be smart and courteous. The world isn't just about you, it's about all 9 million of us.
The governor says taking precautions and not being a knucklehead is the best way to not put the Garden State's reopening on hold because of a spike in cases.
Developing tonight, police say they found the body of a woman wrapped in a trash bag in Germantown. Investigators say officers discovered the body along the 5700 block of Musgrave Street just before 6 o'clock tonight. People setting off fireworks every night like it's the 4th of July. It's had a lot of people very frustrated over the past few weeks. And what you just saw, that was new video that we just got today. People seem to be showing no regard for their neighbors, just setting off fireworks seemingly at random across the city. Today, Philadelphia's managing director urged people to call 911 to report any illegal sales or use of fireworks close to homes.
These are extremely dangerous products, and the risks far outweigh the momentary excitement of the explosions.
While fireworks are legal in Philadelphia, there are strict rules as to when you can set them off within city limits. So again, if you see any illegal firework activity going on, police say to give them a call.
Watch out, Jaws. This guy grabbing a shark with his bare hands. I guess you never know what you're going to see at a Delaware beach.
And a trip to get some froyo had one mom saying, oh no, after she says another woman purposely coughed on her baby.
Oh, wow. And we're live at the bank tonight. Baseball back. But after all the finger pointing about salaries and games, are you still a Major League Baseball fan? Your choices are, I'm still in or over it. Whoa. We're split down the middle right here. Head over to fox29.com/go vote and let us know right now. Would you look at this? A swimmer catching a shark with his bare hands off the coast of Delaware. Video shows the man grabbing the shark and then opening its mouth as beachgoers look on. It had happened on Cape Henlopen State Park Beach over the weekend. No word on what happened to the shark. It is illegal in Delaware to fish for sharks, let alone grab it with your bare hands and try to open its mouth. And if you do catch them, you got to return them to the water as quickly as possible. Don't do that. Bridging the gap between police who serve our communities and the people who live in them. That is the conversation happening in South Jersey.
And an olive branch has been extended in the form of water ice, as our Bill Anderson shows us, for goodness sake.
Policing itself should always be a community event. Like, it should never be us versus them. It should always be, we're there for you.
We all know the current environment as it relates to some tense relationships between some police and communities. It's an ongoing discussion over how to further conversations and improve relationships in numerous ways.
We're in a climate right now where police need to be seen as real people as well. So, and we try to make that happen as best as we possibly can.
Sergeant Mike Zarzasti has long understood the need to build relationships with the Cinnaminson community that he patrols. He regularly drives around in a police car decorated with superheroes just to encourage kids to interact.
It draws people in, people talking to the police officers in a more comfortable level.
And on this day, Sergeant Mike, Chief Calabrese, and other officers spent 5 hours handing out water ice certificates to local kids.
Free water ice.
Free water ice. Just to check on them and to have a chance, no matter how brief, to chat with them and their parents.
And I think it's important as a community as a whole because everyone should get together.
We need to be out there. We need to be talking with the residents, see what their problems are. We need to be talking with the kids to make them understand what we do for a job and not fear us.
And the conversations happened at a pretty steady pace. Listen, nobody thinks that water ice will fix problems that we're facing in many communities.
We're always trying to find out what we could do to train better to make our jobs easier and make the situations we ever encounter a lot easier.
But long journeys start with small steps.
Hello.
Like today's invitation to Cinnaminson to cool off with the cops.
See residents outside mowing the lawn, maybe they stop and talk to them for a little bit, just to see what their feelings are. If there's anything we can do to help, that's what we're there for. I mean, that's our job. We're there to help the community.
And every chance to reinforce that message is progress, for goodness sake. I'm Bill Anderson.
Citizens Bank Park has been awfully quiet lately. We want to know, after all the back and forth, will the boys of summer take the field? We are pretty sure baseball is back at this point, so where are you at now? Are you still a fan, or did this all just change your feelings about pro baseball in general? You still in, or are you over it? Let us know at fox29.com/go vote. It's been close all night.
Good Tuesday evening. I'm Weather Authority Scott Williams in my backyard, and it is still pretty steamy. My ice water It melted. Of course, we're talking temperatures made it up to 90 today. A cold front off to the west, however, will bring some brief relief during the day tomorrow. A few thunderstorms north and west will kind of move into Chester County. You can see some of that activity kind of bubbling up also into the Pocono Mountains. A brief downpour approaching the Penn Forest area. Now, tomorrow's forecast temperatures only in the mid 80s. And Jason, you will notice it will not be quite as humid as it was today.
All right, thank you, Scott. A hot night here and a beautiful night for baseball, I might add. But it is the news of the night. Baseball is back, and I'm here with Kristen Rogers tonight, live at Citizens Bank Park. A lot to unpack here as we consider a short season. And who better to ask the important questions about this short season than our own Tom Shredencheck. Hit it, Tom.
Okay, guys, they say in baseball it's a marathon, not a sprint. But now it's a sprint and not a marathon. How much different does the game look when it's 60 and not 162?
Yeah, Jason, I will lead off hit on this one. I think the biggest change comes from the pitchers. You're not going to see Aaron Nola or Zach Wheeler going 6-7 innings. These guys are going to be 3-4 and done. And you're probably going to have more pitchers if you can on your staff, and you need a deep bullpen.
How about this? Just big picture. Any team that gets off to a hot start, any team can win it this year. I mean, the Marlins could even win it this year because, you know, all right, maybe not that far, but it's an interesting situation. Baseball's season, not 162 games. It's a sprint.
Okay, Tom, what's up?
How big a factor will COVID-19 be? If a player's quarantine misses 14 games, he misses a quarter of the season.
Yeah, so this is my biggest question, and baseball's actually looking at having 2 injured lists. One would be COVID specific. Players would go on that list for an unspecified amount of time. So you could be there for 14 days. You could be there not for 14 days. There's also going to be a trade deadline. You're going to have players moving from region to region. A lot of questions that need to be ironed out.
And how about the fact that players have to really hurry up and ramp up for the season? How about regular injuries? I mean, that's at risk. I mean, players here getting ramped up at the bank in about a week. And, you know, that's also a fear. You know, arms may not be in shape. We'll see. Next one.
And what about the fans? Do the fans win by having baseball back, or was a lot of damage done by these negotiations?
Well, judging by what you see at the bottom of your screen here, there are a lot of fans who are fed up. People are upset about the bickering, and, you know, baseball had a golden opportunity here to be that one game that we really could be drawn to, and I feel like they really dropped the ball.
Jason, I was back here in March, and I said that I thought baseball was going to be the first sport back. They're really feeling like the last sport back. I'll say this, it's exciting to have the distraction for the fans, but what's going to happen next year for that agreement is going to be...
It's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. So once again, let's ask you here. We've been asking you after months of back and forth bickering. Are you still a fan of Major League Baseball? There's still time to go vote. Fox29.com/go vote. And I'm telling you right now, 55% of you say you're over it.
All right, we'll keep checking in on that. Surprising that many people, a majority right now, just over it. All right, guys. Well, we all wish COVID-19 was in the past, but it is still very much here, and in some areas, it's getting worse. So experts are warning everyone to keep your guard up. Here's Jeff Cole.
Wilmington, Delaware sits in Newcastle County, the first state's leader in COVID-19 cases with almost 4,700. In phase 2 of reopening, which allows restaurants to seat at 60%, cases are rising in Delaware.
We're able to go to work, we're able to go to the mall, we're able to go to the beaches, so we must be okay. And I think that's where the message is getting lost, that we're still in a pandemic.
Delaware's governor agrees. Tuesday, in his briefing on the virus, John Carney revealed an uptick in hospitalizations and a small rise in cases, especially in those 18 to 34.
If you're in a party down at the beach house, that's probably not something that you're paying a lot of attention to, or certainly wearing a face mask. And so we're seeing an uptick there.
Carney says the rise concerns him, and his top doctor threatened to sic law enforcement on businesses breaking social distancing rules.
This epidemic is definitely not over. The risk right now is rising. So we all need to take this seriously.
In Philadelphia, with well over 25,000 cases and 1,500 deaths, the virus spikes in places like Florida weigh heavily. On the cusp of going green, the city's health commissioner has noticed Delaware's numbers.
A few cases really going up now in Delaware, which also took a more conservative approach.
I absolutely am more concerned than I was a few days ago. Let's put it that way. And so we have to watch this very closely. And that's what the real key message of today.
Farley predicts an impact in the city from the virus spikes nationally. He doesn't know when. In Wilmington, some believe it's here.
I think it's going too quickly.
Why?
Because it's still going, the rates are still rising.
Jeff Cole, Fox 29 News.
The Bringing Back Delco Task Force offered a second round of personal protective equipment at a discounted price for small business owners today. The Delaware County businesses signed up for the kits online and then went to pick them up at the Broomall Fire Department. The kits cost just $10 each and include 100 masks, 300 gloves, hand sanitizer, 150 wipes, and social distancing floor signage. A woman caught on camera accused of coughing on a baby in a stroller on purpose. Who does that?
Fro-yo, she didn't. A mom says another woman coughed on her baby in a stroller while they were inside a San Jose, California frozen yogurt shop. Now, police say that it all started on Friday with an argument over social distancing while in line. The woman in question allegedly coughed 2 or 3 times in the baby's face. Now, because of the pandemic, she could face assault charges. Police putting this video out there in hopes of finding her. In fact, we've done stories like this before of people doing this. So Dr. Anthony Fauci is offering hope about the prospect of a coronavirus vaccine as many states see a rise in cases, stoking fears of a second wave. Fox's Casey Stiegel has the story from Dallas.
Dr. Anthony Fauci back on Capitol Hill today testifying about progress being made on eventually ending the spread of coronavirus.
I still think there is a reasonably good chance that by the very beginning of 2021, that if we're going to have a vaccine, that we will have it by then.
A milestone that can't get here soon enough as more than 25 states continue to report an increase of new cases.
COVID hasn't suddenly gone away, but neither has our ability to slow the spread of it.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott says shutting the economy back down would be a last resort in a state where hospitalizations have doubled in just the last 4 days. Medical facilities in Dallas and Houston feeling the pinch.
When our ambulances are waiting at the hospitals for an hour plus, waiting to transfer the patients because the hospitals are saturated, that has an impact on us being able to service the next call for service.
In neighboring Louisiana, a spike in both hospitalizations and new cases has prompted the governor to put the third phase of reopening on hold for another month. Health officials note more young people are also becoming infected.
This remains a very contagious disease. It only takes a few careless people to change the course of our trajectory.
18 to 29-year-olds now account for the bulk of Louisiana's new cases, and a similar trend is also emerging in Florida, a state that just today recorded its highest daily death count in 3 weeks.
I think a lot of folks, particularly the younger folks, just kind of thought that, it was behind us.
Disney workers in both Florida and California have launched online petitions to keep the theme parks closed, saying that the recent virus surge should force the company to reconsider its mid-July reopening. In Dallas, Casey Stiegel, Fox News.
The meatless movement has made its way to Starbucks now. The coffee chain is teaming up with plant-based company Impossible Foods, and together they unveiled the Impossible Breakfast Sandwich today. It looks pretty good. It's made with meatless sausage, and it's available at most U.S. locations. Starbucks says the menu addition will meet the growing demand for plant-based options.
It looks impossible, Shayna. Well, he's only 9 years old, but he's already a hero.
So I decided to just hold her like that and just push her to hold her to shore.
Talk about jumping into action.
And Scott, tell us more about these storms.
Yeah, a few thunderstorms right now, Shayna, north and west, along and out ahead of a cold front that will bring some relief our way come tomorrow. We'll go hour by hour with the 7-day next.
You see this 9-year-old boy? That is the face of a hero, is it not? He knew exactly what to do when he noticed several kids struggling in the water in suburban Detroit. Fox's Jessica Dupnack has the details.
She was going up and down, up and down. She was trying to yell for help.
At 9 years old, Bentley Garcia is a lifesaver, literally.
It was really scary.
Scary when he thinks back on it. Earlier this month, a crowded beach at the Holly Rec area in northern Oakland County. Bentley, near shore with his little sister, spotted a struggling swimmer at a drop-off.
I was trying to get her, and my feet were digging to the sand. I could barely reach it.
He says something inside told him to keep trying.
So I decided to just hold her like that and just push her to hold her to shore.
Just as Bentley got that little girl to shore, he noticed 2 other kids drowning in the same spot. This time he called in reinforcements, his mom, Natasha.
It was just a terrifying sight.
Natasha finished the rescue. Soon all 3 kids safe but scared.
The parents of the little girl and the 2 little boys said I'm a little hero.
He even got a letter of commendation from Congress and couldn't have prouder parents.
He's an amazing kid. I know he's going to change the world one day.
In Oakland County, Jessica Dupnack, Fox 2 News.
The Philadelphia Housing Authority is giving away 22,000 face masks to all of its residents for free to help stop the spread of COVID-19. They were given out at the Sharswood Tower earlier today. The masks were donated by a number of different city council members, as well as, the Philadelphia 76ers. As businesses prepare to reopen with all the new safety measures during the pandemic, the plexiglass and plastic industry is booming. Fox's Christina Partsinovelis has more from New York.
It's a good time to be in the plexiglass business. These see-through acrylic sheets normally bring in about $1 billion each year in North America, but demand has doubled just in the past few months or so. At Canal Plastics, they are seeing a significant uptick in demand for specific barriers. As the company reopens, safety measures include recommendations by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that companies should install transparent shields and physical barriers in offices to separate employees from one another. Since mid-March, demand for clear plastic barriers is up 4 times compared to June of last year. At the moment, producers can't keep up with demand. Here at Canal Plastics, the company has been around for almost 50 years. I spoke to the assistant manager about the recent change in demand.
Used car demand has gone up quite a bit since this whole situation. So it's definitely the majority of the orders that we're taking, at least as far as custom work goes.
If you own a business like a grocery store, you'll have to wait almost 26 weeks to get your plexiglass. In the past, it used to take 2 to 3 weeks. Despite the drop in foot traffic and the fact that Canal Plastics has been closed for several months due to the lockdown, they are quite confident they're going to be able to meet demand. In New York City, Christina Partsinovelis, Fox Business.
Caught on camera, a black bear getting way too close for comfort to a hiker. Look at this.
I think we should move. Just slow.
Jeez.
How long did they see it coming before he casually says,
Wow.
I think we should move? Amazingly, the hiker who you see sitting on the rock there, she really kept her cool. She didn't freak out and she slowly walked away. That's what you're supposed to do. Nobody wants to excite the animal. You can see she was sitting on that big boulder. This is along the Stairway to Heaven Trail in Sussex County, New Jersey, when that bear just strolled on up. Another hiker you heard telling her to move, and she just calmly gets off the rock, joins her friend, and they both slowly retreat to safety.
Well, the Windsor Police Service Marine Unit is saying that it helped a deer get to safety after it was found swimming in the Detroit River near Windsor, Ontario this past Sunday. In the video, you see the deer swimming in the river as the Marine Unit slowly approaches. Police say they, quote, directed the deer to land, and his new home is now Fighting Island.
Turning to your weather now, this is a live look out at Allentown in Lehigh County. Dry right now, but Scott is tracking storms. He'll tell you all about it in 15 seconds.
Life's full of little accidents, and Hyundai Tucson's Lane Keeping Assist can help make sure they stay little.
Lease a Tucson for only $149 a month and get complimentary maintenance for 3 years or 36,000 miles. Offer ends soon.
Another steamy evening, summer officially started this weekend, and this week it is feeling like summer. As we look at Ultimate Doppler, there is a little bit of heat relief on the way for Wednesday and Thursday behind that cold front, but then we'll crank up the heat for the end of the week, the upcoming weekend. As we look at Ultimate Doppler, you can see those scattered showers and thunderstorms along and out ahead of that frontal boundary. Most of the coverage will remain north and west of Philadelphia, but in particular, some heavy downpours right now in Chester County. We'll kind of zoom in around places like Malvern, looking at some of those downpours that will lift into sections of Montgomery County. As we move into Berks County, you can see around Spring, moving toward the Reading area, Exeter, looking at some of those brief downpours lifting to the north. So over the next couple of hours, that coverage remains mainly in the Poconos, parts of the Lehigh Valley. A lot of that activity will weaken overnight. There might be a spotty shower around daybreak down the shore, some cloud cover down the shore tomorrow morning. Then mostly sunny skies across the area. Highs today, Philadelphia 90 degrees, 92 in Reading. As we look at temperatures right now, still upper 70s and low 80s, 82 currently Philadelphia. We have 79 degrees in Wilmington. So it stays kind of muggy for tonight. Temperatures upper 60s and low 70s. For tomorrow, a seasonable day. Temperatures 86 degrees in Philadelphia down the shore. The Poconos temperatures upper 70s. We'll have winds out of the north and west tomorrow, so not much of a sea breeze at all down the shore. 79 degrees to tomorrow. Also for Thursday, we're looking at Friday temperatures in the upper 70s. Water temperatures in the mid 60s, and that rip current risk will be low. That Weather Authority 7-day forecast showing not as hot tomorrow, 86 degrees, 85 on Thursday, the threat of a pop-up thunderstorm, and then look at Friday, 89 degrees, low 90s for Saturday, Sunday, 90 degrees. So, a brief break, Jason, tomorrow and also Thursday, but then the weekend, it's going to be a scorcher.
Yeah, it is summer. All right, Scott, thank you very much. Kristen and I here at Citizens Bank Park. It's still just sinking in that baseball's back.
Oh, man, yeah, Jason, that really is the news of the day, the news of the night. Baseball is back, but I'm the good news train here. I've got even better news for you, and it's coming out of the Flyers. Coming up, you have to see who is back on the ice with his teammates for the first time today.
Your Nissan Sports Wrap on Fox 29.
The deal is done. Baseball will finally return to Citizens Bank Park here in South Philadelphia. And it all came down to the Players Association agreeing on all terms with the owners for the return of the 2020 season. And next up at Spring Training 2.0 starting on July 1st. Now, the last piece of the puzzle will be the schedule, which hopefully we will know soon. The Phillies will play all East teams to help with the travel, but that's both National and American League. That is going to be one tough area. So here's what the return of baseball looks like for 2020. It's a 60-game season. Opening day will be July 23rd or 24th. There will be a universal designated hitter as part of the safety regulations. They'll also adopt the minor league policy of starting a runner on second in extra innings. No expanded playoffs just yet, just 10 teams this year. But there's still a question of how exactly Major League Baseball deals with positive COVID tests throughout the season. The Phillies announced 4 new cases today, a player and 2 staff members from down in Clearwater, 1 player not in Clearwater, though, and I think that's the interesting one to keep an eye on. But earlier today, we also got to catch up with you, the fans, and get your take, and it seems like there are some mixed emotions.
I want us to get back to some sports.
It'd be fabulous. It'd be fabulous. We had tickets. We've probably had about half a dozen tickets that we've already gotten back because we haven't been able to get to the games. But yeah, it'll be great.
We see kids, they're throwing a soccer ball, they're picnicking in the family. I mean, it's something. Because I'm sick of being locked up, I can tell you that. It's been a long, long 3 months.
I don't know which is worse, coronavirus or cabin fever.
Cabin fever is almost over. And I have even more good news for you tonight, and it's from the Flyers as Oskar Lindblom was back on the ice with his teammates today for the first time. You gotta see this. Take a look. Oskar Lindblom has been battling Ewing sarcoma this season, but he had just a huge smile on his face, just being out there with his guys, and he spoke about being able to skate with his teammates once again.
I mean, it was great.
that's the only thing I'm waiting for right now. Is be done with my team and get back with the team and play some hockey. That will be unreal to get back to real life again and have fun.
Yeah, keep on fighting and having fun there, Oscar. And the NHL has narrowed it down to 6 hub cities to host the return of hockey: Chicago, Edmonton, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Toronto, and Vancouver. Again, the NHL needs to narrow it down to 2 final cities. We'll be right back with more Fox 29 News at 10 after this.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Fox 29 News at 11 starts right after your live Mega Millions drawing.